This episode is brought to you by Podmatch, the easiest way to connect podcast guests and hosts. We use it to find aligned voices for the ASQ Podcast, and it's how others have found us. Whether you want to share your story or grow your show, Podmatch makes it simple. Scan the QR code on screen or click the link in the description to join.
Welcome to the ASQ Podcast, where midlife transitions become your greatest teachers. Have you ever felt like the person you were no longer fits the life you're in? Today, we sit down with rapper, producer, and entrepreneur B-Cide, aka Robert Cardillo II, who takes us through his raw, powerful journey of reinvention after a chronic illness, his underground hustle, and creative rebirth. Stay tuned. Robert, how are you today, man?
I'm doing well, Omar. How about yourself?
I am doing excellent, man. Robert, B-Cide, I'm so looking forward to this conversation. You know, a person that loves hip hop and grew up with hip hop. I would love to hear about that. So we were excited when we saw that.
Great.
Yeah, man. So looking forward to it.
Cool. I'm looking forward to it too.
Awesome. So I always customarily ask this question in our podcast. Where were you pitched? So tell me a little bit, where were you born and your upbringing circumstances? Tell me that.
Sure. Well, I was born in Utica, New York. It's a small city in New York State that's right in the middle. Mm-hmm. You know, it's real small, nothing like the city. It's more rural. We're more city, but we live around like more rural kind of things. Mm-hmm. And I was born in 1983. My family, we grew up here. I have a brother, and my mom and dad, they had split up when we were about 3 and 4, somewhere around there. So me and my brother are 18 months apart, and that's how I got pitched.
Yeah. And how? Actually, I was just in around Ithaca last year on a road trip. Yeah. So, and I'm from the Bronx, so I'm familiar with the area.
Yep.
So tell us about your family, right? So you had a brother 18 months apart. Your family separated. How did that affect you as a young man during that time?
Well, as a young man, I was really upset about it. You know what I mean? When your parents split up and your father leaves, it's just kind of it feels like you're missing a whole part of your family, and I guess you kind of are. You know, like he was there but not there, because like he went away to like college to become like a lawyer and get his Juris Doctorate and stuff like that. But when you're a kid, you don't care about that stuff. Mm-hmm. That's not what you're looking at. You know, you're just like, where's my dad? So I guess that kind of is how it is. But my parents have a great relationship, you know, so that always helped. You know, like he was always there for things. I mean, he was away. It seemed like he was away forever when we were kids. But, you know, like he was there. They did things together, my parents, and made sure that, you know, we had a good upbringing. But my mom was really there to pick up all the slack. She used to pitch baseballs to us and everything. Yeah, we were real big into wrestling. So unfortunately, Hulkamania just died.
I know, man.
You know,
I know.
So
the Hulkster's gone.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So that's pretty crazy, and part of my childhood feels like it died with that, you know. But yeah, you know, my mom was kind of the rock. She's there for us, and always been there for us. And fortunately, my parents are both still alive. Good. So that's cool to have a good relationship with both of them.
Now, I'm glad that you said that in retrospect you understand why your dad did all that. Was there any ways in which you acted during that time, that adolescent time, in which this absent of the father came about? Was there something that it adversely affected you as you were growing up?
Yeah, I was just a really angry kid. Okay. I just, when I was the oldest, my brother's the younger one, so I was the oldest, and I was just angry a lot, and just just missed that part of my life,
Mhm.
and when you're older and you can reflect on it, like you understand, like it must have been hard to be a father at like 30 something years old, and
Mhm.
try and deal with this wife and your kids and all that other stuff. But I would do things differently, but that's me,
Mhm.
and I grew up without having that, so I would do things differently. So that's yeah.
So I know that at that age is challenging, right? You got all these emotions and you don't know exactly what to make of it. So, what was your safeguard during that time? Because we find some solace in things. What was your safeguard during that time?
Well, I would say as I got older, it was
Mm,
music.
mm,
Like that's really what got me. Is I'm a really big Green Day fan,
mm,
and that's like really what got me into music. That was the
mhm,
first band that I ever listened to when I was old enough to make my own decisions about the
mhm,
music that you can listen to. So I kind of attached onto that, and that had to be when I was about like 12 or 13 years old in
mhm,
1994. So and before that, like I said, my mom's my rock, so I always attached onto her,
mhm,
and she was there for me with anything that I needed. I spent a lot of sleepless nights and stuff when I was young, having to deal with my dad not being there.
mhm,
But but once I got older, and then I started getting into music, and then I had started getting into music myself, and I made songs about it and stuff
mhm,
like that, and me and my dad eventually made up and everything, and
mhm.
it's actually I wrote a book, and it's actually in there and stuff like that. So we made up, and everything's great now.
Good, good. Now
Yeah.
let's talk about music, right? Because I was gonna I was gonna jokingly say, "Do you have time to listen to me whine?" But I'm not gonna do that.
Uh,
But tell me about music and how did that music when you got first introduced to Green Day? How did that music make you feel?
it makes you feel free. It makes you feel like there's nothing else in the world that can hurt you. It
Mm,
just it gives you energy, it gives you confidence, and it's just such a great thing to have. It's something great to lean on.
mhm.
Even if a song's not necessarily about your situation, you kind of turn songs into your own situation.
And so, at what moment did it turn from the solace of listening to it to to the portion of creating it? How did that come about?
Well, it was in about 1998. I was in high school,
Mhm,
and I was friends with this one kid. We had kind of a rivalry, but then we ended up becoming friends and stuff. And he was into like old school hip hop, like the
mhm,
Roots, De La Soul, Rakim, KRS-One,
mhm.
and stuff like that. And I was more into like newer stuff, like I liked Master P and C Murder, the whole No Limit like family and everything. And then I got into the Insane Clown Posse, and then Tech Nine. I don't know if you're familiar with
Of
him at
course,
all.
of course.
Yeah. So and then like I was into all that stuff, but Green Day always gave me like my whole like songwriting ability, and
Okay.
and they like gave me the ability to not have stage fright, so I've never had stage fright.
Mhm,
and then I was with so that's just a little bit of like the background on it. But so I was with these guys in high school. It was like 98.
mhm,
We they had a group already. It was called Aspic, like the
mhm.
meat jelly. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like the meat jelly, the green meat jelly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was so it was kind of like a joke kind of
Mhm.
thing, like they listened to Howard Stern and had all kinds of like jokes and songs and things. They even made a song about some kid in their class, and like it was just wild, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So they kind of let me into it, and my name, I went by Bob C. I mean, that's very original. So
Mm-hmm.
um so we started doing that, and then everything after high school, we kind of like stopped talking to each other really, and then I started managing this heavy metal band called Nameless, and they were actually making some noise locally, and actually to the point where they got a cease and desist order
Oh wow.
from a band named Nameless
Oh
that had
wow.
copywritten it, or I trademarked it.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, oh wow, that's pretty crazy. So we've done
Yeah.
our job, you know. So I had that going, and then I was doing more like solo stuff, trying to perfect my craft and
Mm-hmm.
stuff. And I met up. My brother introduced me to this dude named Tony, who ended up being my rap partner. His name's Shiesty, and then me, Tony, and my brother ended up starting this little group. We called it the DJs Dudley. It was this stupid little group that where we were supposed to be gangster rappers. We wore bandanas around our faces. We stole people's beats and kind of made like an album off of it,
Mm-hmm.
and did that. And then that was about 2002. In 2003, I actually came out with my own solo album, and that's when I really say that I kind of started doing music, you know, like kind of like professionally, you
Professionally,
know,
yeah.
doing music is like 2003.
Yeah. And how was that
Yeah.
life? How was the life of doing music as a profession? I know that there's a lot of people. I worked with a lot of young people, and they're always dissuaded from following a musician's life. Paint a picture for us about how what the life is like.
Well, it's not really all like glitz and glamour. Like I had to hold a job.
Mm-hmm.
I worked at Subway. I had to hold the job down and make sure to get time off when I had to do shows and
Mm-hmm.
things like that. Or if we had to travel, got to make sure you get time off. I mean, I've spent more money on music than I've made off music as an
Mm-hmm.
independent musician,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So I mean, if anybody has the dream to go be a musician, you need to have like a support system in
Okay.
place too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there needs to be a way that you're making money, you know, and to be able to fund what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, you have to make money to do it, and you might not make money off it, and you just have to continue for the love of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What is your greatest or fondest memory during that time?
One of my fondest memories had to be I got to actually go on the road and tour with this group that used to be signed to the Insane Clown Posse's label back in
Mm-hmm.
the 90s. Their name's Project Born. And I went out to Flint, Michigan. I lived with them for a little bit, and we went around the country and did shows, and that has to be one of my favorite times of doing music.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
that's beautiful. One of the hardest things for people to understand, right, is that desire, that aching feeling of an artist to create, right? That's like it's something that drives you so intently, right? So passionately.
Right.
Can you first tell me about that creative process? How is it for you? And what did you find when you were taking that time to create something that was uniquely yours?
For the most part, what happens is I get a beat and then start writing to it,
Hmm.
and that's kind of how it happens. And but sometimes I'll write lyrics down and then slip them in certain things however it fits, you know. But I I really sometimes I don't even know how I come up with the words. It's the
Mm.
closest thing to God that I can say.
Mm.
I don't even know how to explain it. It's just something that kind of happens. You're in a zone, and you don't even know how you wrote some of the stuff that you wrote.
Wow, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a being in the moment. That's like the Zen moment.
Yep.
or just being there. Can you
Totally.
you describe that as closest thing to God? What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that?
It's like you're getting these words from somewhere and you don't know where you're getting them from.
Mm.
It's almost like something takes you over.
Wow.
And it's not for every song, it's not for every song is not like that. But there are certain songs where I've like bared my soul in a song and I'm like, I don't know how the hell I came up with that.
And how does that feel? Because that's a unique experience, right? To experience that untethered expression of your soul into one thing. Can you attempt to describe that?
No, I don't know how to describe it. It's indescribable.
Yeah. No, that's beautiful because it's all about an
Yeah.
experience, right? It's like you have
Yeah.
to experience it to get to that point.
Right.
So as you continue into being a hip hop artist and being an underground hip hop artist at all, it's challenging and it's all that stuff. What was the next step in your life after starting this and going out to Flint and performing? What was the next step for you?
Right. Well, the next step was supposed to be I was supposed to come out with an album,
Mm-hmm.
and that was going to be let's see. I stopped like on the road with Project Born about 2009, somewhere around there.
Mm-hmm.
So 2011, I was supposed to come out with an album, but I didn't know what it was going to be. But I was supposed to come out with an album and I was supposed to like tour with it
Mm-hmm.
and do all kinds of things like that. What happened is I got diagnosed with a pulmonary embolism.
Mm.
I ended up walking. I was walking and I was losing my breath. And I'm like, what's going on? I didn't know what was going on. So, and then my legs started hurting. So I ended up having a blood clot in my leg that traveled to my lungs and it almost killed me. I was in the hospital for like a week.
Wow.
And then what happened is it must have triggered something in my body
Mm-hmm.
because my body, I had this left hand and arm has been numb since like 2009,
Wow.
somewhere around there. And I just always attributed it to a pinched nerve.
Mm-hmm.
I never thought anything of it. I saw a chiropractor. We were trying to work it out or whatever, and nothing ever came of it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think when I got the pulmonary embolism, it triggered something in my body, and I started to stumble, and I was falling and doing all kinds of weird things. And I end up going to the emergency room. My mouth ended up being numb.
Mm.
And I was like, oh, it must have been something I ate. I was delusional at that point. I was just thinking like, whatever could be the problem. But what happened is my midsection went numb. And I'm like, I need to see a doctor. Now it's time to see a doctor. So that's when I went to go to the emergency room. They did tests on me. They said you needed to see a neurologist. Saw a neurologist. They did the MRI on me. The neurologist is like, you have multiple sclerosis.
Oh, wow.
All you have to do is take this shot and you'll be fine. Now in Utica, we don't have the greatest doctors. They are horrible doctors. So this guy's like, oh, take this shot, you'll be fine. I'm like, oh, okay, that's great. I can continue with my life. Well, that didn't happen. And it just kept getting worse and worse. And I'm like, I can't take this. And luckily, my dad, I attribute getting the care that I get because of my father. He was friends with this guy named Charlie Constantino, who's actually passed. And he had a wing of of a hospital in Rochester, New York, named after him.
Oh, wow.
So my dad actually knows his family. So they got me into this hospital that's like a world-renowned hospital for multiple sclerosis in Rochester, New York. So that's where I go. And I went there. They did an MRI on me. They compared it to the one I had done in Utica. The one in Utica looked like it was from a 1950s TV.
Oh, wow.
The one from Rochester looks like it was a full 4K HD. Like, I'm just like looking at it. I'm like, wow.
Wow.
She's like, yeah, here's spots here. there, and I'm just looking at it, and I'm like, yeah, you definitely see a whole different thing that
Mm-hmm.
than the general neurologist sees.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was kind of when I got diagnosed with MS, and it
Mm-hmm.
just kind of progressed
From there. So what was
yeah.
what after getting the diagnosis and being somebody that is active, creative, and all of a sudden you're losing control of your own body, what was going through your mind through all this?
Well, at first I wasn't really thinking much
Mhm.
because he said that all I had to do was take a shot and I'd be good. And I was taking the shots, and then I'm noticing that things really aren't good.
Mhm.
And I'm like, what's going to happen? I wasn't really too sure because I was performing. I was my own promoter.
Mm.
I did everything hand to hand with people, and it just I just started seeing things slip away, and I
Mm.
wasn't too sure where I was going to be going. I was in a relationship with my then fiance
Uh-huh.
for like 10 years,
Mm.
and you and she really didn't make things much better when I
Mhm.
got diagnosed. Like, she said she would be there and everything like that, and then, like, as the relationship progressed, we ended up breaking up because she couldn't deal with my attitude, and
Mm.
then, like, the disease and stuff like that. So, we broke up, and there was a whole thing there, but then I ended up moving in with my mother,
Mhm.
and and then that's when the MS really started getting bad, and I ended up having to sit in a wheelchair
Mm.
and get in a wheelchair. So now I'm in an electric wheelchair full time. I need to have 24-hour care.
Mm.
I have somebody help get me out of bed, get dressed, get washed. Have to help me go to the bathroom, all that stuff.
And so will you consider this to be the lowest point of your life, having to be so dependent, so independent, and now all of a sudden it's transitioning into just being completely dependent on someone?
Yeah, that is definitely like the lowest point of my life, is having to deal with all that stuff. Yeah.
Mhm. So what did you start doing to come out of this? Because again, MS is a very it's a very powerful disease, and
Right.
it is something that frustrates people because you're losing completely control of your body, right?
Right.
But you're here now. So what
Right.
started you into the ascent to be Robert who you are today?
Well, I'll tell you, it definitely was creating.
Okay.
I never stopped making music. I always kept making music, and I don't know whether it's just something in me that just keeps going and going. I'm like the Energizer Bunny when it comes to music. Like, I just want to keep doing things with it. So it's like I was doing that. So I don't know if that was just like a repetitive thing that I just had to keep doing, but I
Hmm.
think that helped keep my sanity. And then I wrote this book and
Mm.
started writing this book, and it really helped me to get like my thoughts down on, not on paper, but on my phone, because I
Hmm.
did it on my phone. But because my hands are all messed up now, so the phone helps me. I can't really
Hmm.
write too well, but yeah, it definitely helped me to write out my thoughts and how everything's been. Like, I had been trying to do some kind of book or something for the last like 5 or 6 years.
Hmm.
I've had stuff in my phone and just never really had a chance to really do anything with it. And then one day I'm just sitting, I'm like, I need to do something to, because when I create, I'm not in pain, if that makes any
Mm.
sense whatsoever. So when I'm doing something like right now, I'm not in pain at all. I'm
Mm.
talking to you and I'm not in pain because it has something to do with something creative.
Hmm. Hmm.
So it's great for me. And anything I can do to get my mind off the MS is
Hmm.
one of the coolest things for me. So whether it's making a song, doing a podcast or interview with somebody, writing a book, writing down thoughts, things like that, it just helps not get me in a spot where it's not good.
Mm-hmm. So tell us about the book, because I'm going to go back because you said a lot of beautiful things in there,
Sure.
particularly about creativity and the connection to feeling good about it physically, right? So we're going to come back to
Right.
that, but tell us a little bit about the book. Tell us the title. Tell us what was the premise of it, and what was the message that you were trying to convey for the book.
Sure. I named it Myelin My Shoes,
Mm,
and it's spelled Myelin,
mhm,
and myelin is actually the coating that's around your nerve
mm,
that the multiple sclerosis eats at. So
mm,
that's why I called it Myelin My Shoes. And basically what the book does is it follows my career from when I pretty much started. Like, I give like a detail on like my life as like a little kid and stuff, but
mhm,
like I talk about the music industry and things like that, and like how I got diagnosed with MS, how I
mhm,
dealt with the diagnosis and things, and then how I went through life and how it affected me, and like how my friends felt about it, or things of that nature.
mhm,
And that's what I put out. I put out a book that's like my life, that's like the music and the MS put together.
mhm. And how was that the catharsis that you felt after you put it out there to impact other people?
That's really what I wanted to do.
Mhm,
I wanted to kind of show other people that, you can still thrive when you have a disability.
mhm,
You can still do things with disability, and having something in print is definitely different than music.
mhm,
It's a totally different thing. And I even made, the way I promote this book is how I would promote an album,
mm.
actually. Like, I even made a album that went along with the book.
Oh, wow.
So I put together songs that I talk about in the book and put an album out called Myelin My Shoes soundtrack, and it's
Mm,
out on streaming. And I even have a pre-order for vinyl.
mhm.
Vinyl's coming out on National Vinyl Record Day, which is August 12th.
Oh, wow.
So it's up for pre-order right now on vinyl.
Mhm,
So I've been dealing with the promotion of the book like the promotion of music.
mhm,
And from what I hear, that's not normally how people promote books. So I'm doing it my way.
mhm.
So it's actually been pretty good. The reception of it's been good.
What are some of the things that you're hearing from the feedback that you're getting from people that are reading the book? What are some of the things that they're telling you?
They definitely like it. The
Mhm,
things that I've heard, like they like the story, like the whole resilience and
mhm,
everything like that. Yeah.
mhm. So you do the book, you have the book, you have the music, the soundtrack with it as well.
Yeah.
So as you were going through this process, what were you feeling in terms of purpose? Because sometimes people lose their purpose in the things that they do, but you found something and you followed it through. What were you feeling in terms of purpose?
Well, I feel like it gives me purpose.
Okay.
It makes it just creating something like that gives me a purpose to actually be able to put something out that can help somebody,
Hmm.
because whether it's music or even the book, it can help people. I've had people tell me that my tracks have helped them out of dark places.
Mm.
So that's an incredible feeling. And it's better than money. I mean, it's not money, but it's good.
Hmm.
It's crazy when somebody tells you that something like that can help them.
Hmm.
And I just really wanted to come out with something for the multiple sclerosis community.
Hmm.
And I thought doing a book like this was good. And that's kind of it gave me purpose to put it down on paper and release it and do it my way.
Yeah. Good, good. Awesome.
Yeah.
Listen, let me ask, I'm going to go back to this question about creativity because it kind of alludes to this point of purpose, right? And
Yep.
you said earlier that there is something inside of you. There is this thing, this yearning to share and express yourself. And a lot of people don't listen to that voice. Can you talk about the importance for you of expressing yourself uniquely, powerfully, and then be able to say something a little bit behind? Can you and the role of creativity in all that?
Well, if I didn't listen to my internal voices
Mm,
and did what certain things want me to do, I don't know if I'd be here right now,
mm, mm,
because I use this as I use this as therapy for years. Before I ever got prescribed antidepressants or anything like that, this was perfect for therapy.
mhm,
Like, I still use it for therapy because my therapist is pretty much just a pill pusher.
mm,
So I still use it as therapy. And I'm able to get my thoughts out about things. And I can say what I want because there's no label behind me. And that's the number one thing about being independent, is you
mhm.
can kind of say what you want. And I think that's what's kind of carried me through this whole thing, is just being able to listen to myself and come out with the things that I want to come out with.
Mhm. I want to talk a little bit about the macro, right? How you are impacting society, because everything that you're saying, although it's something that is personal and is your individual journey, it also has had a ripple effect on other people, right? You mentioned that the
Right.
feedback that you're getting back, the information that you're getting back. Talk to me a little bit about why is important for people out there that feel that they don't want to listen to that voice because they're scared of societal pressure, they're scared of what their family will say or their friends will say, they're afraid to listen to that voice, and they feel that emptiness inside. What would you say to people when it comes to listen to that voice, accept it, follow it?
You got to go for it. You got to follow it. It's if it's telling you to create something, you need to create something. You could be the next person that creates one of the biggest things in the world. We don't know what it could be, but if you don't follow your dreams, then you don't know what you could be doing. That I never ever I never want to die and think, what if?
Mm,
I want to do whatever I can do and say that I did it and tried my hardest. If
mhm.
you fail at it, oh well, I gave it my all.
Now you're also facing one of the most diseases that are very, very strong, and they have a very negative impact on our bodies, right?
Hmm.
Can you talk to the overall the public about what it's like to live with a chronic disease? What it's like to be able to feel that physically, but yet have the wherewithal to express your soul?
Well, every day is like a new roll of the dice because
Mm,
I never know what is going to happen. Some days, like, I'll feel good. Some days I'll feel bad.
mhm,
Like, I'll just wake up and it's just a bad day.
mhm,
I just it's like you get up on the wrong side of the bed, and it's just something sets you off and you can't do anything about it.
mhm,
Like today, I was in a really bad mood until
mhm,
I came in to do this with you, to tell you the truth. So I mean, it totally flipped my whole mood, having to do something that meant something for me
mhm,
and what I'm trying to do. So anything I can use to get rid of those negative thoughts, or any kind of pressure that gets put on me, any pain, anything like that, I just have to try and think in a different space, think in a
mhm.
different way, put myself somewhere else.
Tell us about 55 Strong and the relationship to your journey. Tell us a little bit about that.
Right. 55 Strong is actually the uh record label, that's all. It's all new.
Mm-hmm.
Came up with this with my longtime friend and manager, Jay Mott. He actually hit me up. He's like, we should do something new. You know, there's a line in this Insane Clown Posse song, I roll in a street gang 55 strong. Everybody's singing that Southwest song. And I'm like, that 55 strong, that just is like strength, you know? So we can use that 55 strong as like a strength thing. So I want to use 55 strong and have it be this label and this whole conglomerate. Like I make clothes under the name 55 strong, come out with albums under the name 55 strong, came out with this book under the name 55 strong. And that is just the whole movement. It just is for people that are like down and out and need strength for something. And that's what I want 55 strong to stand for.
Yeah, I mean, it's beautiful because, again, back to what I say, you're affecting the macro, letting people know that they're not by themselves, right? And that leads me to this question, right? What advice would you give to someone that has been affected by life for not choice of their own, because life just happens, right? What advice would you give to them to be able to continue to persevere and find the point of expression like you did?
I know it sounds cliche, but you have to kind of look at the bright side of life. You know, you gotta look more at a glass half full than half empty. And actually, that's my mother who taught me that. If it wasn't for my mom being like, you need to start looking at the glass half full, I was looking at things so negatively and putting such a negative impact on my life because of it. And once I started thinking more positively and not letting things bring me down, then things started getting a little better for me. And I'm like, if things just started getting a little better for me with just thinking a little bit better, what happens if I keep thinking this way? So I keep thinking this way, and I'm just trying to be more positive about things. So what I would tell people is try and be more positive. And if you have something in you that you want to do it, because time waits for nobody.
That's right. I mean, it doesn't wait, and the world keeps turning. So it's important to express yourself in the here and now. So, Robert, how do people find you? How do they find the book? How do they find your music? How do they get in touch with you?
Sure. You can actually go to my main website, b-cide.com. That'll show all where you can listen to all my music, get the book and everything. But the book, actually, I have my own website for it. It's myelinmyshoes.com, MYELIN, myshoes.com. And the book's on Amazon. So you can go on Amazon and search for it, and it comes up, and you can get it there. Awesome. And I actually have it on Kindle and Audible. So it's good for all three versions. If you like the paperback, you can get that. If you got a Kindle or a little e-reader, you can get it that way. Or if you want to listen to it, you can do it that way. And I even narrated it.
Oh, awesome. Oh, so it's your voice too. So this continues your point of expression, expressing yourself by narrating the book.
Right. So I was able to like give certain parts of the book my own inflections and stuff like that. Yeah.
Wow. Well, listen, Robert, I am so thankful that you took this time to have this conversation with me. You are an embodiment of what we talk about here at the Soul's Quest, is be able to confront those things that are not of our own doing, just part of the nature of life, and then still find a point of expression to feel good about who you are, using your creativity. So from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank you for doing this. Any final words before we conclude our conversation here?
You're very welcome. Thanks for having me on, Omar. This has been a great experience. Your podcast is really good. If people want to check out my website and my music, just go to the link, b-cide.com. You can go on Spotify or your favorite streaming platforms, b-cide. I'm there. I'm all over the place. So I've been doing it for a long time. So you can check me out. I'd appreciate it. If you like it, check it out.
Thank you for joining us, and big thanks to B-Cide for sharing his powerful story of soul reinvention, hustle, and healing. Grab his memoir and soundtrack located at the link below. Until next time, and remember, find meaning, navigate change, live and lead